Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back to React Quickly. My name is Azat Mardan, and in this chapter, we will be actually putting a lot of concepts that we've learned so far together. Things like properties, creating components, using states, using lifecycle events, and using user events, using the DOM events. So I'm really excited about this chapter. It's very important because let's be honest, there's hardly a single useful web application which doesn't have at least a single form element. Let's go to google.com. Google.com is just a single input field, but how many people use it and how useful that is, right? So we use form elements to capture text. We might have a radio button, a checkbox button, and have a longer box called text area. We might have a drop down, and then we have other custom elements as well, and HTML5 elements as well. Let me talk a little bit about this unique problem that React has. So let's go back a few chapters. Let's go back to the core concept. So we have properties. It's an input for a React component. React component, it's doing its thing, and then on the output you get UI, which is most of the times it's HTML, but it doesn't have to be. It could be iOS views, it could be Android views, etc. So what is happening basically is that when you're working with forms, you need some special attributes, some special qualities for those form elements, because they cannot, usually the elements cannot be updated because they're updated only when the properties changes, right? But in this case, in the case of form elements, they must be updated by users. So they are unique in this sense. Those small subset of form elements, they have special qualities that allow them to change their state. Basically, they change their representation, not just on React, but also on the user input. And traditionally in regular HTML, what we do, we have that form. Let's say I'm typing something, I'm typing my search in that Google search field, and then that data doesn't go to the application right away. Most of the times it just stays in the DOM, and only when I'm ready I'm clicking send, clicking go, and clicking find, and only then the code, the JavaScript will pull that data from DOM and it will send it to the server. Now sometimes applications will try to capture it in close to real time. They would buffer it a little bit, not always in real time, and they would also have that data in the application as well. So React is doing something similar. So when you're working with forms in React, so number one, user is typing something. User gives an input. The view takes that information in the form of the event. Remember events from the previous chapter? So we're using unchange. And we need to implement an event listener. So usually it's a class method. In that event listener, we would update our state. So this.setState, that's what we would use, and this.state.name would be updated. And then we need to use that state as a value of our element. So it's like a circle. I'm typing, React is capturing, my code in React is capturing that change. My code in React is going and updating the internal state of React, and then React, now without my code, just automatically, just because I'm using that state in the curly braces of the render method, it goes and updates the view automatically. So it's called one-way binding because we have the data, which is properties or state, it goes to the view, that's one-way binding. React is doing that, but it's not doing the reverse as well. If it were to do the reverse as well, meaning I'm typing and it goes right away automatically to the model/state, that would be called two-way binding. So some frameworks, I'm not going to mention their names, they use two-way binding. React is using one-way binding. And it's actually a good thing because it allows our application to be less magical, basically. If we implement that code manually, it would be simpler, and also it would doesn't introduce more complexity than necessary. Okay, So number one, I'm typing. Number two, I need to implement manual code in the event listener. Number three, the state is being updated and React automatically updates the view. Number four, the user sees the change. This is the recommended approach. Then I will be also talking about some of the differences between React elements, like text area, for example. Text area doesn't use the inner text, it uses the value. In regular HTML, you would use inner text or inner HTML for the value. So it's like the stuff inside of the pointy braces. But in React, we're using value, and it makes, actually, personally, I like it better because it makes things more consistent with other elements like input. And then I will be also talking about another approach. So sometimes you don't want to implement all those event listeners. Let's say all you have is a form, and then you have a large submit button at the bottom of your form. So all you want to do is just get the data and send it. You don't actually worry about your internal state and your view being out of sync. So in this rare edge case scenarios, you might want to use the approach called uncontrolled component. So an uncontrolled component is a component which value is not set by React. So it's not controlled by React. It's basically just the DOM. You store it in the DOM and then you access it. Most of the times you access it using references, refs for short. So I'll be also covering that, how to use refs. And the potential problem with it is now you have internal state, it could be out of sync with your view, there might be bugs, there might be unintended consequences. So it's not the best case, but sometimes you want just the form, you just want to submit the data, read those values, might be okay for you. My goal is to show you multiple approaches and then give you the cases, and it will be up to you when to use what. And also at the end of the chapter, after showing you how to use references for the uncontrolled components, I will also show you how to define values, because if you set the value, it would be controlled component, and if you set it to a hard-coded value like a string, it's going to be pretty much unchangeable, so we don't want that. So how do you set the default value? Let's say I'm coming back to that form. It's a poor user experience to just show me the blank form again. I already pre-filled it, so we need to pre-populate the existing data. So the way you do it, there is a special attribute, it's called default value. So you would use that with React elements, React form elements. So really excited about this chapter. As I've said, a lot of concepts finally coming together, no more baby steps, properties, obviously composable components, JSX, obviously there is no way we're not going to use JSX, right? And internal states, setting lifecycle events, capturing events from the users. All of those concepts come together when we're working with forms. The examples become more realistic and more interesting. So I'm really excited about this chapter. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video, and don't forget to have a great day.